trust has been my word for 2022, and boy, what a journey
Nice.
it's been.
It's a biggie. It sounds simple, and then it just keeps unfolding.
It's like it's like the best way I can describe it is it's a constant initiation. So it's like you said you wanted to trust, here you go. Like, let's go
Yes.
then.
Yeah.
That's definitely been my experience with it. But I was speaking to someone earlier about my own journey, and I feel like I've recently just turned 34, and I was saying that 33 to 34 was like, I know I'm going to look back. It hasn't all come into like the physical form yet, but I know I'm going to look back and be like, holy moly, that was so big. And it's all centered around the trust piece.
Well, it's big. It's big. You already know it's big
Yeah,
because, like, I already know it's big for you, right? Like, just with what little we've talked already,
yeah,
it's big. What you don't know yet is what to call it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? How to
yeah,
tell the story of it, like A,
yeah,
B, C, this is what happened. But words are just limited.
yeah,
I mean, it's just like a thin, I don't know, translation,
yeah,
of experience.
100%.
But you know it. The juice is real inside
Yeah,
you. Here we go. Let's go. This is my new hashtag is like get ready, let's go because I'm ready. Ready for a whole new blast off for myself and for this conversation.
that's amazing.
Amazing. So welcome, Natalie. I most notable, and this is what I said about you in the post of come join this conversation. You're right in the middle of a pivot of your coaching um, practice and what you called yourself. You changed your Instagram handle. For a minute. I was like, wait, why can't I find Natalie? And then I was like, oh, she really did it. She really did it. Now, so you are a confidence embodiment coach, is what I'm seeing on Instagram. And before you were career confidence coach.
Yes. Probably should have
So
sent you a message to let you know I was going to do that. Sorry about that.
don't be sorry. I found you. And of course, it was exactly as you said you were going to do. So I mostly, when I saw that, I was like, yay. Really, it's just like that juice of like, I'm not just going to think about it and wonder if I should and when I should and then do it. And like, you're like, I, I think it's time to do it. And then you just did it, which is exciting. It's
Thank
exciting to witness and, just be part of your journey.
you.
So I think it's a powerful moment. I like to talk with business clients about there's like an opportunity and novelty, like the moment that there's some shift is a time when people in general, this is like the masses, when they're like, wait, what's happening? Something just happened. You get like this window of opportunity to say, um, grand opening, soft launch. You know what I mean? You get this
Yeah.
moment to be like where people are like, oh wait, I'm gonna pay attention again. So it's it's fun. I mean, and it's a kind of a juiciness that it's just the natural energy, I think, of people trying new things, becoming the next new thing. So
Yeah.
it's very human. And
Yeah.
also marketing wise, a little bit of the fickleness of audiences. But
Yeah.
you get to talk about it in a new, different way. So
Yes.
we're both in that a little bit. Get ready, let's go.
Get ready. Let's go. I like that. I might borrow that.
Borrow. Yeah, yeah. Put some juice into the hashtag. We'll all be on the get ready, let's go. So with that, I'd love for you to tell us how you came to start your business and a little bit more about what you are doing now, the Today
Okay.
Natalie.
Okay. So I'm still quite a baby business owner. My business hasn't even been a business. I'm still less than a year in. But the journey to actually begin my business, really, I was thinking about this the other day, and pretty much when I got pregnant with my daughter, things just completely changed for me. So I didn't get the idea come into my head at that moment, but pretty much like the start of those seeds being planted was around that time. So basically, I kind of just came to the realization that, like, well, first it was a surprise, but it was a very happy surprise.
Hmm.
And then everything just shifted for me. So I feel like I want to just tell this little bit of this story so it makes a bit more sense.
Yes,
I'd grown up
sure.
like, never being surrounded by women talking about labour in a positive way. So I was terrified of birth. And to say I was terrified is not an understatement of the century. Like, I was like one of
Wow.
these people, like, put me to sleep and wake me up when the baby's here.
Yeah.
And then when I was in the situation of being pregnant and being like, holy shit, like, this is real, I thought I kind of like had a bit of a word with myself and decided that I didn't want everybody else's story or experience to be my story or experience. So I decided in that moment to take responsibility. And I didn't even, I suppose, know that that's what I was doing at the time. But
Mm.
I basically did, I just went balls to the wall with like reading about different birth stories, learning
Yeah.
about the physiology of birth, and basically that whole experience for me, I ended up getting like the most amazing natural birth experience,
The
and that,
opposite of what you
yeah,
thought at
it was
first.
and it was like it was very. I kind of blew myself out the water, and I think everybody else, because it was like, hey, I decided to do something different and I just believed that I could, and then I made it happen. So it was like that was kind of like the start of my confidence journey. Has been a lifelong thing, but really that was the start of me realizing, hey, the power of I believe in this, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of when my journey started with learning more about coaching, and wanting to do. Once I had my daughter, so when I was pregnant, I decided not to know if I was having a boy or a girl. But once my daughter came along, based on kind of like my own upbringing and what I'd experienced growing up, I was like, I want to model something different for my daughter. So that really was like the catalyst for me. And
Hmm.
then there was no pushing from my part. I was just, it all kind of just happened organically. And then last year, I had some grief, and then it kind of woke me up from thinking. I had a bit of a story that I couldn't start my business while my daughter was a baby or a toddler. um,
Hmm.
I felt like I didn't have the capacity to do that, and then going through that experience, it kind of woke me up, and I was like, hang on a minute, there's no guarantee here that I'm going to get the chance to do this. So why are you waiting? And I just realised that I was making a lot of excuses. So this year, in the new year, I just was like, why not? This is going to be my year. So that's why I
How
decided
old
to
is
say,
she?
oh, so
How
she's
old is your daughter?
3 in December.
3 in December. Okay. Yeah. I'm taking notes because I'm super inspired. I'm super inspired by your story right now. Um, yeah, so you said I don't have to wait. What's the waiting for? And this is as though you're guaranteed a later.
Yeah,
This is super powerful. It's really,
yeah,
it took me decades longer to understand this than you. So bravo for coming to that.
thank you. Um, I mean, it wasn't just that in itself. There was a couple of other things with that, and
Yeah.
there's been a lot of growth that's had to happen to get here. But I wouldn't change it at all, because it's literally been the most I feel as though I've come home to myself, and I would not change any of
Hmm.
what's happened before to get to where I am right now in the present moment.
Hmm. All right. That's that's a beautiful one. Come home to myself. I mean, what I just think of is the question of how did you recognize it was home and not just like a new strange place?
Um, so again, I've kind of mentioned that my journey with confidence has been a long one. So if we just go back like to my childhood, I from a young age just, and when I say young age, I remember being about 7 or 8 and just having this feeling of not being good enough. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of been the golden thread for me that ran through everything. And in my early teenage years, I basically um, became bulimic, and that was like
Mm.
it was like a decade of my life where I basically abandoned myself and rejected myself on like such a deep level. So the healing journey's been quite a long one. Um, but just the last year, the reason I know that it's coming home to myself is just I've never felt so alive and content in who I am and who I'm being. And that's taken me, and this is the reason actually why I work just beyond mindset. I think mindset is amazing. Like I've done so much like therapy and mindset work myself, but my own story, a lot of the a lot of the narrative that I had around my own self-worth, it wasn't just in my mind, it was stored in my body from trauma. So it's like it's
Mm.
taken me a long time to be able to have that courage to face some of that, to face that trauma and actually dissolve it. Now, I also believe that it isn't a destination, and that's the difference. Like I used to try and solve how I was feeling like it was a maths equation and it was a problem, and if I did this or this then I'd get there, like it was a thing that I had to get to. So
Hmm.
that's kind of like an answer to your question as well, where this is why it feels like I'm coming home to myself. I'm not trying to fix
Yes.
myself, and I don't think that I'm a project that I
Yeah.
work on.
You're not still grasping for the if A then
Yeah,
fulfillment. If
yeah,
I do it right,
yeah,
then success.
yeah,
Ultimate done.
yeah,
Checked, baked, fully baked.
yeah. And it's the acceptance piece for me. So that was something for a long time that I didn't have that there. I've done a lot of mindset work. I've done a lot of therapy. I knew the reasons why I felt the way that I did, but I didn't really get it. I got it on a logical level, but I didn't get it on a deep, deep, like feel it in my body level.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my therapist used to say to me at the end of the session, have compassion for yourself. Like, you should talk about self care and acceptance. And I remember it used to really trigger the hell out of me because I was like, what does that even mean? Like, people ban
Yeah,
that. I think people do ban those
for
words.
sure.
And if you've never lived your life from that place of acceptance, or you've never had that modelled or shown to you, it just seems very like, but how? I was like, but how? How does that even work? I was still very much in my mind and just trying to solve the problem or the Rubik's Cube sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that's answered your question. I might have gone around the houses.
No, no, I think it's painted it really beautifully. Again, what I love about these conversations is everyone's story is so unique, special, and universal.
Yeah,
I think what you just talked about is so many pieces that a lot of us relate to, especially people who grew up as women in Western culture. There's a lot
yeah,
of pretending it's a math problem,
yeah,
of that even there is a math problem. We all have this math problem to solve before we're
yeah,
acceptable.
yeah,
And then the method being very linear logic. I mean, it's so patriarchal, right? Like, it's so
yeah,
dude to pretend it's like that. And it may or may not be like that for some people. And I'm only saying it's not like that for many of us.
yeah.
Much
It
bigger.
definitely not that for me. And that's why it felt like no matter what I did, it never really, I never really felt like it was ever coming home to myself. If anything, every time I tried to solve that problem and I tried to get the next new thing, it felt like I moved further away from who I really was.
Hmm. Yeah. And you could feel that and you knew that, even though there's something, there's like one level of hypnosis of Natalie, go do this, go fix yourself. And then there's another part, right? That's talking the whole time of like, no, right? Isn't it interesting how they can really talk at the same time? And we're trying to reconcile it until we finally realize they can't both be right. So I have to pick one. I pick
Yeah.
myself or I pick other.
And I think what's interesting for me is the one that was saying no, that was more like a whisper.
Yeah,
However, and I'm bringing this back full circle now to the trust piece,
good.
since I have chosen to really cultivate my confidence and choose myself and choose to trust, that whisper has got louder. And then the other voice has got like this little bit here. So I don't believe it ever goes away. But what I'm able to do now is like witness it on the sidelines. And I don't have to get sucked in like I used to really just get so sucked in without even realizing that that's what I was doing. And it was it was like an addictive feeling.
Of course.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting how when we do start the journey of coming back to ourselves and trusting that that little whisper for me got louder, and the more that I choose to trust, the more guidance I get, and the more I feel like the nudge. I call them like the nudges. I get the nudges a lot more, and the more I choose to trust in those nudges, it affirms every time that I'm on the right path.
Beautiful. Welcome, Deerish and Louisa, People First Finance. Thank you for joining us. This is just, I was just tuning into this energy of like, this is such a good conversation. If everyone could just be in this space for whatever the hypnosis is for them, right? Like whatever the old story, the giving your power away story, what other people tell you to do versus coming home to yourself. It's healing. It's like just what is waiting for everyone, and it's so exciting. And also, as you said, there's been some griefs and hard stories that called you to that.
Yeah,
Yet, it's what brought you here,
yeah.
and you don't regret it.
No, no,
Thank you for sharing that.
no problem.
So now, at this moment, I mean, this is where, as you were telling your story, confidence embodiment coach, cultivate courageous confidence, like all of that, those words I heard as you were telling, that
Yes.
the embodiment and the cultivating is especially what stood out for me. So now maybe tell us more about what this pivot has meant for you. How does
Okay.
this look now?
Again, this is going back to the trust. I told you this was my
Yeah,
word. So I set this as my intention.
trust.
here, and it was the trust, and it was the self-trust. And if I'm honest with you, I'm going to be so brutal honest here.
Good.
I I was doing something because I thought it's what I should be doing, because it made sense on paper to be doing the other stuff. So I've always had this side of the business where I'm the confidence embodiment coach, but I was also wanting to work in corporate businesses. And then I kind of, the last couple of months, I've just not felt, there's been no drive to actually do anything with that side. And I really just took the time to check in and be like, okay, what's going on here? And I kind of realised that I was doing it because it's what I thought I should do, because it made logical sense on paper to me,
Mm-hmm.
because of my own background in corporate and what I've done on gender diversity boards, all things
Yeah.
that I've enjoyed,
Yeah.
but it isn't the thing that sets my soul on fire. I don't get
Mm-hmm.
excited to think about that piece.
Yeah.
So I made the decision that if that isn't the thing that's doing it for me, then why am I even trying to put any effort over there? So I've basically decided to trust in what my body is telling me, which is that if I focus on that, I'm not really staying true to myself. I'm doing it because I think it's what I should do, because it does make sense on paper, but it doesn't make sense to my soul. That's how I actually feel about it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I decided, hey, I know I'm only less than a year in business, but if I want to lead myself and be a leader in my own life and my own business, then when I can feel this and see this and I'm aware of it, I need to actually act on it. So that's why I decided to just go for it.
Well, you're the model, right? You're gonna call people in who are attracted to the life you're living and how you're leading yourself.
Yes.
So, yes, you are walking out in front of us, and this is what a friend calls learning in public, which takes some courage,
Yeah.
right? You are saying, this is how it looks for me.
Yeah.
And admitting the vulnerability of you just start acting on what you know at this moment. It's without knowing the whole, taking one step without having the whole staircase in front of you.
Yes.
Whoever does, again, it's the hypnosis of like, you should really make it A plus B, right? You talked it like a math problem.
Yeah.
Turns out really nothing is like a math problem except a math problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that our lives are full and complex, and this, what I call this particular light that Natalie Simpson brings, that each one of us brings, it's it's delightfully complicated, and it gets to come out of us always a little more true, home to
Yeah.
ourselves. And that takes iteration, and it takes courage, and it takes like action taking without the logic stopping us, the head in the way.
Yeah.
Woo! I really think it's like, no, but like, who is there any human who doesn't need to do this in their life, not just business, but like in their lives? Like, we are talking as to coaches who have specific modalities or philosophies of who we are working with. But really, sometimes, and this is turns out your journey is overlapping with my right now journey, is oh, what if I'm not really a business coach? I'm actually something else. I've said business alignment coach. I just changed my Instagram profile for the 500th time. And I'm like, how do I say it? And then I just wrote over the weekend, I just said, be more you. Like, what if that's the whole thing? And I don't have to talk about peace and ease and revenue in business systems. And you know that, I mean, really, it's like, should I always say in your business, but really it's about you and your personal fulfillment. Your business dreams is your personal dreams. Like, it's all the same. It turns out it's all the same.
It's easy to get sucked into the idea of what you think you should be saying, but I'll use that as an example. Like with my bio, there was a part of me at one point that was hiding away from talking about I was comfortable talking about the embodiment piece, but there's a part of me that was like, oh, what if I talk about the spiritual piece and people are going to get turned off? But now I'm like, no, that's a good
Bring
thing,
it.
because it means that the people that are supposed to be working with me, that are like activated with me, activated by what I'm saying, are going to find me. If I'm not talking about that stuff, they're not going to find me. So it's just, I love the fact that you just said that you were like, hang on, why do I need to write all that? It's just literally be more you. So I love that.
It's awesome and it's delightful and it's kind of scary. It's like I said, I've 2 years only said I'm a business coach, and it's because it's what I knew. And again, because this is the context that I found empowerment was as a small business owner. My previous business is what I draw from all the time, and sort of the arc of struggle to success. I can talk about that all day, and that's just the landscape for my growth.
Yeah,
And yet it's 2022 that I was like, oh, it's actually everything. It's actually all the bigger and spiritual adding to it too. Same kind of questions of like, oh, it's so easy to talk about a revenue plan, a business plan being the problem, you know? But
yeah,
really layer, 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 layer. Embodiment, identity, where's your safety, sense of
yeah,
safety come from for every bit of courage in life? And of course, it plays out in careers. Of course, it plays out in those corporate spaces. I want to talk with those people leading corporate spaces to say, can you just make a land that is calling in people to be their whole, delightful, unique light selves,
yeah.
that it's all welcome? Of course. Yet, is that the call, right? For like who you're calling in? Maybe not.
Yeah. I think being really honest with yourself and then having the courage to just say, do you know what? I'm all in. I'm going all in on this. Even if some people are not going to get it. Like, some people don't get it. Fine. Like, someone was speaking to me about this today and saying that, and actually said that I started this journey with no one like patting me on the back or giving me a high five. If anything, I started this despite what other people thought. I just knew like there was something calling me that was like, this is what you need to do. Um, and not everyone gets it, and that's okay. But as long as you get it and you can stand by your choices because you know that it's come from a place that's true to you.
Hmm. So, and I can't help it. I am a business coach in the sense of like how powerful that is as a business, right? To be the
Yeah,
person that's like, no, I'm not doing what anyone has ever done before. No one is endorsing this. And yet, to me, I've heard this term in sort of VC, that kind of entrepreneurship, blue ocean. Like, it's like nobody's been here before. It's not super competitive where everybody's fighting for the small market share. It's like, nope, I'm first. I'm first in the space. So powerful. On one hand, you have to explain it a little more. And on the other hand, people are like, oh, when they get it, they're like, oh, I never even thought of that. And there's a power just in that, right? In you being your weirdo self in business and of course in the world.
yes, embrace the weirdo. That's what I say.
Yeah, I'm saying that in the best way. Like we are all called to be as unique and not conforming
Yeah, just
to the
you.
math problem. Yeah, be more
Yeah,
you. Whoa, Natalie, here it is. Our half past, and I'm only on question one.
Okay,
What? What's that?
I said I'll stop rambling and I'll be.
No, no. I mean, that was gold gems dropped for this whole bit. So thank you so much. But I'd love to get to what is your greatest delight? What's your greatest joy in your business?
It's seeing the joy in people when they get something, or when I had this morning. I woke up to the most beautiful video, and it was from someone who I've shared something really pretty, like, it's the most simple thing, and I'm going to share it here because it's literally a game changer, and it's something that I've been doing. And it's basically the simple practice of every night when I go to bed, I think about my day and I really focus on 10 places where I'm really thankful. But I don't just think about that and then move on. I literally think about the experience, but in a really sensual way. So I'll just use an example. If I've had a cup of coffee, I will think about how amazing the heat of the coffee cup felt in my hands, and then the
Mm,
taste of the coffee. And I basically do that, and you literally get to feel the joy, the bliss, the
mhm.
pleasure in your body. And there's no
Mm,
better way to go to sleep. And it's changed my life. And this person's been doing it for only like 4 or 5 days. And they left me the most beautiful video message this morning to say that they were like, oh my God, it's like I've taken some form of ecstasy. It's like, I haven't ever taken drugs, so I can't confirm if this is what it's
yes,
like. But it's
yes.
like,
But it's changed their reality, right?
yeah. And
It's,
he was like, I've just put on a song that I've listened to like dozens of times, and it just sounds so different. And the reason this person's going through like a really hard time at the moment. And it's really, I get it, when you're in a place where things are not going great and then someone comes out with something like this, you think, oh, whatever, like we really just want to bat it away and think it's going back to the math problem thing again. We want to
mhm,
think, no way can that change my life. So basically moments like that are the things that fill me up and give me joy, just knowing that I'm positively making an impact on somebody's life and changing their day in that way. And then just the deep level that I get the privilege of working with the women that I work with, it's like it honestly does transform their life, and I can't think of any greater privilege than that, and that gives me so much joy. And just the fact that even if I never get to work with anyone else again in my business, just the work that I've done in my own life and the impact it's had on not only my own daughter, but then like her daughters and then my sister. It's like when you really sit and take that in, it
mhm.
takes my breath away. It's just, it's
You
making
know
me
what I
feel,
just felt about it is just your story sharing right now. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel I just want to endorse even this conversation. What you said here is so powerful already. That has the impact of your declarations of truth. This, the affirmations, the your own personal story, your just even mentioning the word bulimia as part of your story is very brave, right? It's like whenever you say something that is unmentionable, people are like, oh, that was so powerful already, right? The word it's like a spell.
yeah.
So thank you
Thank,
for,
no, thank you for saying that. But it's genuinely how I get emotional when I think about it, because I remember in my early 20s, I was doing really well in my career, and I did all the things on paper that I thought I should be doing. And I was looking around thinking, I'm made for more than this. I could just feel that I had more, so much more to give, and that there was something in me that was being wasted. And the fact that I have had the opportunity to walk the path that I've been on, and then every single challenge that I've had has meant that I've been able to meet myself at a deeper level, which means I can be such a bigger space for other women for their healing. So I feel so
Yes.
grateful.
Yes. Well, even just being a person who can say that with your whole body, it's not common. It's not common to be that person, nor to declare that truth out loud, nor to call other people that it's possible for them. Don't you think? It's not like there's like tons of people walking around you come across at the park or the grocery store saying, you know, it's all welcome.
Yeah.
It's here for your healing. People are starving for this message, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah.
like people are like withering, wanting to have somebody say, we're all welcome, every bit of us.
And I think I I particularly love working with women, but when I look at the world right now, it is crazy out there, and the way that we are living our life, we were not made to live our lives this way, and it's actually making us ill, it's making us sick.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
whatever your views are about the coronavirus pandemic,
Mm.
there is an epidemic in the world right now in terms of how human beings are. They're not being, that's the problem. We're not being, we're just doing, and we're
Human
totally,
doings.
and we're not really living, we're just surviving. And I think
Hmm.
my greatest joy is seeing, as I've said earlier, I've been on my own journey to come home to myself, just giving that gift for other women, to empower them to be able to do the same for themselves. That's like the biggest privilege. That is, and as you've just said, confidence and worthiness, it doesn't matter who you are or what you do, who you think you are and your identity impacts everything. So this stuff is huge. Like the whole context that you come to your life, it's all based on who you believe that you are.
Yeah. And we bring all of that energy all around with us, right?
Yeah.
Wherever we go. It's like in the suitcase, in the backpack.
Yeah.
And it can make ripples of love and freedom, or it can make ripples of, I don't know, grouchy and blame and fear and
Yeah.
styrofoam. I think this is world changing, what we're talking about.
I I, I think it is as well.
What is one business challenge that is before you at this moment?
So it comes back to the trust piece. Funny, everything comes back to the trust piece. It's the
Funny, not funny, but yes, all the time. Yeah.
it's basically it's the trusting even when it doesn't make sense on paper. And what I found the hardest actually is this path that I'm on. No one I knew growing up was an entrepreneur. No one had their own business. And I am choosing to do something that none of my friends are doing. None of my, like, no one in my immediate, like, circle, physical circle is doing this. No one I know has been on this healing journey. So I'm just kind of like out there swimming in the sea on my own, like, ooh. So I identified that quite early on, and that's why I chose to put myself in rooms with other women
Yeah.
and other people that are doing this stuff, because I don't think I'd even be where I am right now if it wasn't for doing that, because doing this is hard enough without that, the right environment for you to thrive, like the supportive environment, being able to just have the conversations that people that aren't doing this just don't really, I mean, they say they get it, like it's difficult, but you don't really get it until you're doing it. Until you're in the trenches, you don't really get it.
Yeah. Yep. This is
So
how we met, right?
yeah,
This being in this space where it's funny and beautiful to hear you say how I had same story, even previous business. I didn't know anyone who said, I think I'll um, roll up my sleeves and do something that they've never done before and
yeah,
create for me. It was a children's retail business, brick and mortar store. And people were like, "Oh, you're so brave." And I was like, "Okay." I mean, they were like, it was a mystery to them, you know? And they were like, "Good job, but like it's lonely, super lonely," right? And yeah, so similar feelings and this year, and yet like that chapter that was like my previous decades, I didn't get help and I just swam it alone. And that's why now my message as a business coach in this iteration is like, get help, get support. It's so different. And where that isolation, loneliness feeling is what I heard you describe a bit. Um, Same story for me, and yet totally quenched that thirst with the container that we met each other in, and others, I'm sure, too. So just how can we tell everyone to just get support? Like it's safe to get support. Makes a
here's the
huge
permission.
difference.
I actually invested in that group, well, that program, before I'd even made a penny in my business, just because I knew that it would be invaluable. And I chose not to let the story that, oh, it doesn't make sense, I've made no money. I was like, well, if I want to grow how I want to grow and have the impact I want to have, like, why am I going to mess around for 3 years struggling on my own? I'm just going to go all in. So I just decided to go all in.
Powerful.
If I
Yeah.
can do it, I'm not special, so can you. Like, anyone can do that. If you are serious about wanting to grow your business and have that support there, it not to say it makes it easier, because I don't believe that it necessarily does, but just knowing that you've got it's for me, it's like, it's just the environment and knowing that you've got other people that get it, and
Hmm.
then it opens up opportunities, especially if you're in a group program like what we are. You meet other amazing people that you would not have met if you weren't in that
Hmm.
environment.
And every one of their stories is so powerful,
Yeah,
so
yes,
inspiring.
yeah,
So I think I'm hearing your business challenge is the trust again for this pivot.
yeah.
Um,
And the trust that, basically, that whatever, it's just choosing to continually trust in myself with whatever comes through for me, and that it's okay to not do things just because that's what other people over there are doing.
mhm.
Look, I've done something a certain way and has been successful with it. I actually personally believe that the best strategy is whatever works for you. So if if you don't feel comfortable with a strategy, like, that's never going to work for you, because the way that you're coming to it is completely off key. So I think it's all about having the confidence to just know what you want and what feels right for you, and going with that regardless of what other people are doing.
Hmm. Yeah, this is what my first business, I was like swimming hard and I was like, I don't know, am I doing okay? I'm saying I like look to the left and right, comparison, trying to learn how they did it. And of course, I didn't have models that
Yeah,
fit, but of course, I still was like, oh, really looking for some outside validation. And what part of my story, my journey, is the freedom that came when I realized nobody knows. Nobody knows my story, my experience, and the way I see it.
yeah.
So it's super powerful. So if I could ask then, as far as the trust, what's the voice on the other side that says, "What are you thinking?" Like, what's the maybe fear voice or not trusting voice saying?
Well, usually it's it's an old story, and it's not always actually mine. Like when I think, and I think that doesn't sound, when I actually witness that voice, and this is just for me personally, so everybody would need to do this for themselves.
Of course.
It's usually when I'm in a place where I'm transported back to being a child, and that voice is not my voice, it's somebody else telling me what I should or should not be, or should not
Mm,
do. And it's like, okay, that voice got me to a place that I didn't want to be at. So it's just always coming back to that thing of remembering, if I'm trying to create something that's different, do I want to fall back to listening to that voice that's telling me how I should or shouldn't do it? Or am I going to actually trust myself and know that, like you've just said, you know you better than anybody, I know me better than anybody. So if I make a decision that's based purely on my own nudges or intuition and it doesn't work out, that's okay. But if I go and do that based on what someone else says I should do and it doesn't work out, that's a whole heck of disappointment, because you spent however long working to somebody else's idea of what you should or shouldn't be.
yeah. In a sense, it was like, well, sort of the possible win is thin
Yes,
compared to something that you really wanted,
yes,
right?
definitely.
Like then you're like, even if you win doing someone else's strategy, you're like, yay. Like what? Like anyway, just and then the risk when it doesn't work, it's like, well, yeah, of course, because nobody wanted to do this,
Yeah,
really. Like, right? Like it was. I used to say this with my previous um, business was a lot of gift giving,
okay.
children's baby gifts. And I used to say this about how to buy a gift is that it has to be not just about them, that person has to be about what you want to offer, what you want to say. Because if you're only trying to guess what they want, but you yourself are like, I don't know, I don't really like it. What if nobody liked that thing? You know what I mean?
Uh,
At least because you're not in charge of what they
mm,
like. It's you just have an idea of what they like, right? You're just
yeah,
making things up.
yes,
Again, for like if you're making your business, try to be like somebody else or do it correctly like somebody else. It's a story. It's an interpretation. It's a shadow dance about
yeah,
what somebody, your interpretation. So then like if you don't put yourself in the gift offering, which again, every business is kind of a gift offering, right? You're at least saying, this is what I wanted to say. This is what I want you to have in your life.
yeah,
Um, I hope you like it. I thought about what I wanted for you, and I thought about what you would like. But really, it starts with, I'm excited about this thing. It's my dollars. It's my shopping trip. Like why would you give away that power that you have for a total made up possibility of
yeah.
someone else's happiness?
True.
I just put all that together. I gave that talk like 1,000 times a day of like, what should I pick? Well, tell me about the person, but really it's about you.
Yeah.
Thank you. How, Natalie, thank you so much for bringing who you are here to this hour. How would you like people to find you? And who would you like to work with you and contact you?
So the main place that I kind of hang out is Instagram.
Great.
So this is the main place for people to find if they're interested in learning more. Um, I also have a free Telegram group that people can join. That's through the link in my bio on Instagram. And really, I want to work with women who are ready now for deep transformation, because the work that we do, it isn't just scratching the surface. Like I said earlier, it's a combination of mindset, embodiment work and spirit work. It goes on a very deep level, and it's not something that is, it's not a cookie cutter approach. It isn't like a 6 week commitment. It's a 6 to 12 month commitment, just because it goes so deep. But it's the most transformative work. As we said earlier, it goes to the whole identity and the root of who you believe that you are in the world. And kind of every person I've ever worked with who has low self-worth, low confidence, as was with my story, there's a whole lot of stuff to actually unravel and unpick there. And it takes time, and not only that, it takes courage from, like, this work. Anyone that chooses to do this work, it is life changing, and what you get on the other side is amazing, but it does take deep courage. I'm not saying that to put people off, obviously, but it's like,
You're calling
it
in exactly who you're looking for.
it isn't a
Yeah.
it isn't a 5 step 2 week, like, here's a PDF. It's like, that isn't, trust me, I tried everything. I tried all that stuff. It doesn't work. Like,
Right.
the only thing that's worked for me and for the other women that I work with is the coming home to yourself. And to do that, we have to unshed a lot of crap to get there. Like, that's just the
Mm.
reality. So it's,
Mm-hmm. And again too, right? Because that
yeah,
same crap will be like, hey, what about me again? And you got to go again, over and over again. I mean, some kind of, that's my little metaphor. But yeah, they just keep coming at you. That's
yeah,
beautiful. Thank you.
I try to keep it as succinct as possible, but I do love to ramble. So sorry about that.
I don't know if I told you this in our prep conversation. This is all about you bringing yourself and being more you. You be
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Yeah, this is not, I'm not a polished, this is not a NPR news interview. This is, this is us just being our actual selves together in this space. So thank you so much for the generosity of bringing yourself here.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. And I've actually found this conversation really activating. So,
Me too. I
been,
want to take a lot of notes about what you've taught me just now.
oh, thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you.
All right. Thanks all of you who joined us.
Yeah, thank
And whew, cheering for all of you.
me too.
Bye bye,
Bye.
Natalie.
Thank you. Bye.